Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. And I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy on the opening night of the 2020-21 NHL season. I don't really know why it's a 2020-21 season because
it isn't.
I guess some teams started training camp in theory in the last days of 2020, Bruce, is the best we can do on that. Okay, anyway, that's the least of our complaints tonight, perhaps. The Edmonton Oilers lost their first game of the year 5-3 to the Vancouver Canucks. It was our first look at the new look Edmonton Oilers. There's been a number of changes on the team. We got to see a whole basket full of new players. And, you know, it was we had 4 games in about 10 months, I think it is, of Oilers hockey. And the Oilers looked rusty, Bruce, is what I would say. It was a very exhibition like hockey game. So this is our 2 good things, 2 numbers, 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. I'm a bit rusty. 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. Just give me your overall take first, though, Bruce, of the game. What did you think?
Rusty. It was so sloppy, David. The defensive zone coverage was just a dog's breakfast far too often. And while we have the Oilers having the advantage of high danger scoring chances, I bet you if you counted up the grade A++ chances, Vancouver would probably have the edge because Edmonton had some absolutely horrific breakdowns in their own end. And at least 3 of the Vancouver goals were scored by guys that were left to their own devices. And Mikko Koskinen didn't have the answers. I wouldn't necessarily blame him on any of the goals, but a save would have been nice at some point or other. Brayden Holtby certainly delivered some saves for Vancouver.
Holtby, Bruce, was fantastic. 20 grade A scoring chances for the Oilers in that game, which is incredible. That's a very high amount, and the Canucks had 15. So the Oilers had more grade A chances. Seems like every time they had a really super grade A chance, they would get slashed and not be able to get off the best shot. But and then anyway, we'll get into it. Let's go. What is your good thing in the game, Bruce?
I'm going to go with Kailer Yamamoto. I liked his game tonight. He scored a lovely goal to tie the game 1-1, where he won the puck with some great hustle on the forecheck, chipped it into a place where Draisaitl could get it, and got into give and go position. And when he got the return pass, he just rocketed it top shelf. Really good, quick release, goal scorer's goal. That one looked like. He had absolutely tremendous chance to tie the game, 4-4 in the third period. Again from close range, like he gets right in tight to the net. Yamamoto, 5'6" or whatever he is, or not 5'6". It doesn't stop him from burrowing his way into the tough spots. And Brayden Holtby made the huge save on him that time. He did take 1 penalty early in the game, but he made up for that twice over by drawing 2 penalties the other way. And he's got a real potential as a good penalty drawer, which is a key skill on this team. So overall, I saw him pretty well. He didn't strike me as having any of the major defensive gaffes that we saw sprinkled throughout many other members of the team. And overall, to my eye, he was certainly the best winger on the Oilers, if not the best forward or even best player.
Yeah, Leon did a lot of good things on the ice tonight too, but he had some big clangers. So it was kind of like the very good and very bad situation with him. Bruce, I like that line, and I had been hopeful. The breakup of the Dynamite line was a terrible mistake. I still hold in the playoffs, and I'm still not thrilled about it. But Cahoon, I thought, did well with those 2 players. He wasn't able to score. He was in tight a couple times and couldn't score. But I thought that line did very well. They're the most dangerous line consistently of the Oilers on the night, by far.
You could certainly see the chemistry between the Germans.
So good work by that group of players. Yeah, that's right. And Cahoon, I don't think that's his A game, but he made some nice plays there. Okay, Bruce, my good thing is Oilers' new arrival, one of the new arrivals, who you were really excited about coming to
Mm-hmm.
Edmonton, Slater Cuckoo,
Mm-hmm.
and who I was surprised to see in the starting game. I thought it was going to be Chris Russell.
Me too.
They would go with a veteran. I am glad Dave Tippett went with Cuckoo. He was, I think, the most effective Oilers defenseman, and by quite a bit. His puck moving, Bruce, was exceptional. He contributed to 4 grade A scoring chances, made major contributions with stretch passes and other passes, and he made major mistakes on just 2 against, which is a really outstanding total for any defenseman in a game, because defensemen have much fewer offensive opportunities and much more defensive responsibility. So they're much more likely to be put in a spot where they're going to make a major mistake on a goal against. So for a debut, Bruce, I thought it was strong, and it was a signifier or indicative of what I thought was overall quite a strong game, not defensively by the defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
That was a horrible game defensively by the
Yeah.
entire team. That was a clanger of a game, but they moved the puck well, Bruce. They really did. When they were snapping the puck around, moving it up to the forwards very quickly, and honestly, it made me feel really good about this team. Although they lost this game, and the work ethic I thought was lacking at times in the team. They were outworked by the Canucks in this game. I thought, and nonetheless, the amount of skill I saw in passing of the puck, what a relief. I mean, God, we have been watching for years now, and even in the McDavid era when the team's gotten a bit better, just some of the worst passing defensemen, in the NHL in this era. And that's not these Oilers. That's not this team. And they didn't have Evan Bouchard in the lineup. And if Adam Larson keeps playing like that, they might just have Evan Bouchard in the lineup sooner than later. Anyway, we'll get into that in a second. But they moved the puck well, and I was really impressed with them, in particular, Cuckoo.
He sure made a great pass to Cahoon early in the game. Cross ice
Oh,
diagonal pass,
yeah.
found his tape right in front of the net. Right, found a narrow passing lane, zipped right through it, right on the tape. That was nice. I thought he had a couple of weak moments defensively, but with the puck on his stick, he was fine and actually a little bit creative. So that was pleasant to see.
Your bad thing.
Well, I'm going to go into the sea of despair that was Edmonton Oilers' defensive coverage. I know you've laid dibs onto one of the goals already, but I'm going to take the second Vancouver goal by Nils Hoglander, the rookie Nils Hoglander, where the Oilers' fourth line of Jujhar Khaira and Tyler Ennis on this particular play got their wires crossed at the blue line, couldn't get the puck out, and then Khaira uh, went back into the zone. He seemed to be in good position, and then he just stopped skating completely, and he just glided about 3 feet behind Hoglander all the way to the front of the net. Hoglander jumped on a rebound and pounded it in, and that was the moment that Carey decided, oh, maybe I better check that guy. But he was looking at his numbers the whole way in, and he was like 3 feet behind him, just too far away to do anything. And I'm going, what are you doing, man? Like, you're probably not going to score a goal for 2 months. Maybe you better start working on defending your own net. If I mean, it's just so frustrating that
Yeah.
that's just a gift. You go hard back on the guy and you lift his stick. I mean, any bottom six player in hockey, if you can't do that, you're not going to stick around. I'm sorry to say. I've been rooting for this guy for a long time, but that's the same
He
old movie.
he needs a change of scenery, Bruce, and it's too bad that another team didn't claim him on waivers, because he really needs to go to another city and get a new start, because we're not going to see him next game. I don't think we're going to see Devon Shore in the lineup.
Maybe.
And when Gaetan Haas is ready to play, Gaetan Haas would have made that play. He is a smart defensive player. There was a little bit too much blowing the zone actually in this game from the Oilers
Yep.
as a group. It was
Yep.
a factor in the
Yep.
Draisaitl kind of blew the zone there. He's go for the puck, but stop on the puck too, maybe. Of course, he's trying to get the breakaway. They're down a goal, so I understand that at that point in the game.
Puck
But
just got tipped as he got to it too.
yeah,
60,
so it's a tough.
64 or 43, both got.
His blowing the zone one is, but Kyer was a little ahead of the play, but not really.
Mhm.
All he had to do was put his pedal to the metal. And Bruce, this is one of my pet peeves in hockey. He's trying to catch up to the guy on the back check, and the other guy stops skating to cruise into the slot. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of Kyra, Jujhar, keep moving your
Yeah.
feet to get on the guy, he starts coasting too.
Gliding and watching the guy
Gliding. Why do they
watch
do
the
that?
play
Like,
from 3 feet away.
maybe, I don't know. It's
Ah,
maybe you get close to the net and everyone starts to glide because it's a little dangerous to go full bore. But get back and cover that guy. You'd think there'd be some
take your
desperation.
stick.
Nugent Hopkins had a back check in the second period just before there was Holtby made that turnover in the corner that Nugent Hopkins got, where he inexplicably passed the puck when the goalie was kind of half in the net. Nugent was trying to set up McDavid. Just before that, at the other end of the ice, Nugent come back and made an absolutely brilliant back check. I mean, that's how you back check. Get back there and make the check. And
Yeah.
Jujhar Khaira, like the story of his season last year, Bruce, was plays like that, and you can't have that. And Dave Tippett will not have that. Khaira played what, 7 minutes or something like that, 7.5 minutes that game because they, the coach had seen enough. Speaking of,
Target the guy, but you got to target the guy's stick. You know, you got
yes,
to
get on his stick.
lift his stick. I mean, Kara's a bigger player, way more leverage. I mean, Hoglander, the guy that scored, is 5'9". I mean, he's a little tank, but the bigger man should be able to win a strength battle there. But you got to be close enough to get in the battle, and he just didn't move his feet to join the battle. It just was he was a spectator. Very frustrating to watch.
So my bad thing is also the 5 goals against. There's
Oh,
lots to pick from, but on 2 of them, Bruce, Adam Larson just absolutely. What can we say? Shit the bed on this podcast. I just said it.
you make the
That's what
rules,
happened, man. He he
especially the first one.
what was he doing on the first one? It's a 2-on-2. Cassian is on that guy. Larson, as a veteran defenseman, he should have a sense of how many people are coming down on the ice rushing the puck at him, right?
Yeah.
It was a fairly slow developing play. You'd think he'd look up, oh, there's 2 guys. Oh, Cass has got that guy. I'm just going to stay in the middle of the ice.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he goes for the big hit. And he totally takes himself out of the
Didn't even
play.
land the hit.
He didn't even land it. He kind of took Cassian out of the play, if you ask me a little bit. Like, he kind of botched Cassian's attempt to check the
Mm-hmm.
player, and it's put into the middle for Bo Horvat for the
Mm-hmm.
scoring chance plays don't get much sweeter than that. I mean, that's like a 33% shot, 40% shot. That's breakaway shot in a game is like a clear
Oh, one
breakaway
and
shot in a
three, yeah.
game.
1 and 3.
So yeah, 1 and 3, and then in the last, which goal was this? Was it the last goal of the game, or was it the? No, it
Yeah, I
was the
think
third goal. The third. Yes, wait. Fourth goal.
the
Vancouver's fourth
4-2
goal.
goal, the winning goal.
That's the one where Draisaitl is, he's trying to get the breakaway. So somewhat forgivable. I still see that as a major error on the play. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it turns out to be
He lost the battle.
lot, and it goes right down low. So it turns out to be but Caleb Jones was also cheating high on the
Yep,
play.
both
But
defensemen.
Larson had just hit. Who scored that goal? Was it Besser? Who was it?
Besser, Besser.
He had just hit Besser in the corner. He's got to know, like, like Adam Larson's a veteran defenseman at this point. He's been
Yeah.
around. He's played 400 or 500 NHL hockey games, whatever it is now, maybe 600.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to know, like, you just hit that guy. Okay, puck's moving out. There's still a guy behind me though that I got to be aware of, and no. So maybe it's just Kevin Bieksa was kind of handled it in kind of cool hand Kevin Bieksa fashion, kind of rather gently but pointedly suggesting Larson had better not be making mistakes like that.
Oh yeah,
4 or 5 games
he
into the
wasn't
season,
wrong.
he wasn't wrong. That. So I won't say anything more because I don't. In the end, I don't want to make too much. I've made a lot of it already. I don't want to make
Mm-hmm.
too much of it because it is Adam
Yeah,
Larson's first game in a long time. So
yeah. Well, yeah. But anyway, yeah, that goal. I mean, the forwards Yamamoto and Draisaitl were in a battle for the puck at the blue line against the remarkable Quinn Hughes, who made a great play on this one.
yeah.
Uh, but both defensemen drifted up past the ringette line, like not close enough to make a play on the puck, but not far enough back to protect the front of their own net. And then when Hughes was able to chip the puck through, it's Besser against Koskinen. which wasn't a good battle for Edmonton tonight.
All right. What's your number?
Well, I think I'm going to go with -1, which is the plus minus for. Geez, it seems like almost every player on the team. I think 9 forwards and
Except for
2
Larson, who's
defensemen.
-2. Yeah.
Larson and Jones are -2, and there was 11 guys that were -1. But I think I'll focus specifically on the third and fourth lines, whose job is to break even. And each of those lines lost that battle, got outscored 1-0, and the team lost the game by 2 goals. And the fourth line in particular, just to throw another number at you, was outshot 6-0 and just got dominated in their little bit of play. So here, Jujar Kara, 1 shot attempt for 9 against, 0 shots for 6 against, 0 high danger chances for 3 against, and 0 goals for 1 against. Like just lost in every aspect of it, and that -1, it wasn't just like one fluke play against the flow of play. It was the whole game for that line.
Yeah. The pain was every line had a goal scored against it, and at least one.
Yep.
McDavid's line, I think, maybe was that the one that had 2.
Yeah, they were +1, -2. The third and fourth lines were +0, -1. And then the second line, the Draisaitl line, scored 2, allowed the 1.
My number, Bruce, is 3 and 11. And so, as people know who listen to this podcast, but let's pretend there's some first-time listeners here. There's probably a handful of them. One of the ways we analyze the game here at the Cult of Hockey is every game, Bruce and I work together on a scoring chance document. And generally speaking, I go first, and only on the grade A chances. And we define grade A chances as shots that have about 25% chance of going in. So if there's any shot on the ice that we determine, and we have criteria that has a 25% chance of going in or better, that's a grade A chance.
Basically,
so the Oilers had 20
shots.
Yeah, basically slot shots. Sometimes, like if it's a one-timer from outside the slot, that'll count as well. Or a heavily screened shot from the point will also be a grade 8 chance because that's got a high degree of likelihood of going in. So what we do is we look for the major contributions for the scoring chances for, like the people who really made that chance happen, or the major people who made major mistakes on the scoring chances against. Typically, forwards get a lot more in the positive category than in the negative, just because of their role in the game, and the defenseman is opposite, especially wingers. Centers have a lot of defensive responsibility, so tend to have more negative marks against them when the season's over. This game, the top 4 defensemen on the Oilers, Darnell Nurse, Adam Larsson, Ethan Jones, and Tyson Barrie, they contributed to 3 scoring chances. Now they did score 2 goals, Larsson and Nurse, so that kind of sticks out in your head, like, oh, they added to the attack. There was that. You can't deny that. That was Nurse. That play that Nurse made was a fantastic play with Cassian. Mm-hmm. But Bruce, they only made 3 contributions to grade A chances this game, and they made 11 major mistakes on grade A chances against as a group. And you are not going to win many hockey games if the defenseman that you're relying upon makes so many defensive mistakes. I didn't think actually that Bear and Nurse played particularly poorly. They played a lot of minutes, and they looked good much of the time, but they did have a few brain farts out there on defense. And I'd say the same goes with Barrie, and obviously we've already covered Larsson. So they've got to crank it up, and the whole team has got to crank it up on defense.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Jones-Larsson pairing scored 1 goal, but they were on for 3 against. And again, the third pairing, second pairing, like it's close. As I figured, the first pairing stood out. Nurse and Bear each played 20 minutes at even strength, and the other 4 guys all played around 13 or 14 minutes. So you tell me which is second and which is third. But the big pair were on for 2 goals for, 1 against, and the other pairs were 0 and 1 for one pair and 1 and 3 for the other. So
So Darnell was +1 in the game, Darnell Nurse. And I thought actually he of the defenseman other than Cuckoo, he was my favorite defenseman that
Yeah,
game.
I like this game tonight
I
by and
thought he
large.
looked pretty good, and I was relieved to see him. He's talked about playing better this year, like he's playing better on defense, making better plays, and I thought he did in the first game, generally speaking, with a few
He
mistakes.
looked pretty controlled, yeah.
He did, didn't he? Yeah, him and Bear looked good too. Like no sophomore jinx there in the first game, at least. He was Ethan Bear, the player that we
Made some
know.
nice stops. So
Yeah,
one on one, he stopped. I think it was Horvat a couple of different times that
yeah, he
Bear
did.
just got the better of the guy in open ice, and
Good to see.
yeah,
What changes? I could probably see Mike Smith in net. What other changes do you think we'll see, Bruce, for tomorrow?
100% we'll see Mike Smith. I'd say 100% we'll probably see Chris Russell.
For who?
Well, 5 goals against, David, defensive breakdowns galore, and a
But who's
defensive
gonna come? Who's gonna
specialist
come out?
sitting in the press box. Well, I, Caleb Jones,
Could be Jones.
you know, like
Jeez,
he
I
was
wouldn't
on
want to
for
see.
3 goals against. He was burned on two of
Yeah,
them by your
yeah,
count, 2 in a row early in the third period,
yeah. I
and
wouldn't want to see
it didn't
Russell and
really make
Larson together,
anything
though.
happen offensively. I know we're rooting hard for the guy, but if you're going to rotate, guys in and out of the lineup, I mean, it would either be Jones or Cuckoo. It certainly would be Nurse, and I do not want to see Chris Russell inserted on the right side. I'd be bloody tempted to pull Adam Larson and put Evan Bouchard in there, to tell you the truth.
Play Bouchard and Russell and sit Jones and yeah. Play Bush. Who am I saying? Play Bouchard and
And Russell.
Russell.
Hmm.
Pull Larson and Jones.
Yeah,
That
well,
way.
they had a real tough night. I mean, they did get the 1 goal, and I mean, the coach.
Bruce,
You want the coach to be patient with the guy and say, you're going to have to be better, but we're going to give you a chance to get that one back. But at the same time, 5 goals against and just so many coverage errors. I
depends
mean,
what
maybe the play is just stay with the same lineup and say, tighten it up, boys. We know you can be better than that. You're going to need to be.
depends what kind of message he feels is necessary to send and how
Yep.
urgent that message is. I don't think we should panic after one game. I mean,
Really, I do.
I,
Hey,
well,
we're
I
in
was,
last
I was.
place
This
already.
is the only reason
Toronto and
I'm saying that.
Vancouver got 2 points. Montreal got one.
The only
We
reason
got a
I'm
three
saying that is
point game.
I was kind of panicking, just trying to calm myself down.
Every out of town game I watch all year, I'm going to be rooting for a 2 point game.
Oh,
I
I
don't
hate
care who wins. I just want a 2 point game.
changes it forward. Do you think we might see Tyler? Like the fourth line was not strong, so I don't think we're going to see Kara. I think we'll see Devon Shore.
Well, they got to
They're
find a
still,
way to get him in the team. First of all, he has to
yeah, you're
clear
right.
waivers, and then
Yeah,
I mean, they haven't even got a spot on the taxi squad for him yet. So they're going to have to figure out some way to get him in there. And that either involves sending out somebody who doesn't have to clear waivers, or it involves waiving somebody else.
fair enough. Well, they could waive Jujar
I mean,
again.
they don't have to waive him, actually. Jujar is the
Yeah,
answer. He could be sent to the taxi squad now because he's already cleared waivers.
we could also see Ryan McLeod. Like, I mean, I don't think. I mean, Ryan McLeod's not a worse player than Jujar Kara, Bruce. At this point, I don't think. I don't know if he's much better because he still needs seasoning. But if they want to give him a few games before he goes to the AHL, which I think where he belongs this year, maybe we'll see him because I don't think you can play Kara again. Like it just he's we've seen we've seen enough. Sorry, Jujar Kara, for being so negative. Maybe he'll come back and have a good game. He is a key penalty killer, Bruce Kara. So that's one thing that may keep him in the lineup. The Oilers PK, when they were on the PK, certainly didn't look very good. So that was a little bit scary, honestly. They were kind of getting sieved by cross-seam passes. Do
Yeah.
you think we might see Tyler Benson in?
No,
No,
I don't.
because you have to. Yeah, that wouldn't work. It has
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be a center because Kara's the obvious guy. They need a center, and that would be the only thing that might happen.
As of now, they have 12 forwards, 9 defensemen, and 2 goalies. So I think the plan was to send Evan Bouchard to the taxi squad because I can do that freely
Yeah,
and replace him with a forward, and whoever that forward is might get in. And it might be Devonshore. And
I see. Okay, gotcha. All right, let's leave it there, Bruce. We'll be back at it tomorrow night, hopefully with better news. Losing 2 in a row to the Canucks would be a brutal way to start the year.
yeah, I mean, back to back home games. I mean, it's crucial. If you lose the first one, you got to bounce back. So this is a big early test for Edmonton to bring something, or at least their B game tomorrow night.
Connor McDavid's going to score some points tomorrow night. He had
Mm-hmm.
six. He had a lot of really good looks at the net, and he just didn't have any puck luck tonight. But that'll come, so we'll see what happens. All right, Bruce, thanks for talking tonight, and good luck writing the game grades.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.